Shark Tank, How to Get Funding from a Shark event. My name is Jeremy Andrews. I'm your host, founder of Smart Money Entrepreneurs. Thank you guys for coming out on what turned out to be not too rainy night. I hope you guys enjoy what's ahead of you. There are a lot of things that are going to be taking place, including CEO versus investor battle, which we'll get right into shortly, in terms of how, as an entrepreneur or venture, you actually can approach a venture capitalist, an angel investor, and how that negotiation takes place. How that deal and that negotiation takes place. After the CEO versus investor battle, we're going to take a quick intermission break, 10 minutes. So around 8 to 8:10, if you have to grab a bottle of water or go to the bathroom, we'll take a quick break. And after that, we'll start the second half of the show, which includes Damon John, Brian Cohen, Alan Brody, and Charlie O'Donnell, who are all angel investors. And essentially, it will be a Q&A session moderated by myself. And then afterwards, we'll actually have a chance for the audience to ask questions of everyone on the panel. Again, I hope you enjoy. A few things before we get started. I want to thank New York Alley, Jason, and Enfi, who are brilliant people. They opened the space for a lot of entrepreneurs who were misplaced during Hurricane Sandy recently. So these guys, do things that a lot of other spaces don't do, and I really appreciate their efforts and their assistance with it. So if you're an entrepreneur looking for space, then I'd recommend coming to New York Alley to, use their space. Because again, those guys are really great, and we appreciate everything they've done. I also want to thank personal friend Peter Minton, who is, has been by our side from the very beginning. We are an equity-based crowdfunding platform, and he's one of the few people that I've, in my experience, has been very generous and gracious with his time, and I appreciate all he's done for Smart Money Entrepreneurs, as well as, of course, the SME team, all the volunteers who are here participating and helping. And without further ado, I want to begin and introduce you to CEO versus investor battle that will be starting with Randolph, Zach, and Dan. Thank you. I apologize. Dane. Like the dog. Dane. Thank you. So without further ado, these guys will take it away.
Excellent. Well, this is Dane, first of all. Despite having just raised a gigantic round, we can't get his name right. So,
with a philanthropic component.
With a philanthropic component. Anyways, my name is Randy Adler. I am co-founder and managing partner of a law firm called RK Adler, based in Soho. We are former Skadden attorneys that decided 4 years ago that we wanted to focus on startups and emerging companies. So we're deeply in this space, and that's how I've come to know these two gentlemen. We're all friends, and Zach and I actually are working together on a new seed fund that I'll let him go into. But without further ado, I'll let these guys introduce themselves and give you a little bit of background as to why Dane is the entrepreneur in this, and Zach is the venture capitalist.
Yeah. Whoa. How's this? Good? Good? All right, awesome. So yeah, I'm a serial CEO. I've built over 20 companies in New York. I've raised well over $100 million, $6 million last week, and I battle VCs all the damn time. So I can represent your interests pretty well, I hope, and not get beat too bad by another expert.
So just for the record, in a real negotiation, Dane would eat my lunch. But my name is Zach Ahrens. I'm a full-stack mobile angel investor here in New York City. I invest across the mobile spectrum, all the way from consumer, mobile analytics, mobile ad tech, pretty much everything in that space. I made 35 investments so far. I also work at a mobile seed stage fund here called ENIAC Ventures, and as Randy mentioned, we are together in the process of launching our own seed stage vehicle called Solomo.vc. So let's set the stage, Randy.
So the way this is going to happen is, now you have our intros. First, now keep in mind, all this is normally compressed over a bunch of meetings, so don't think that this happens as quickly as we're about to do it, because that would be awkward when you actually do this. The first meeting is going to be the entrepreneur coming into the venture capital firm and giving their idea, telling a little bit about the company, telling about what their team is, their idea, why they should be funded by the venture capital firm. Then, in the same meeting, due to time constraints, the venture capital firm is going to kind of sell themselves after they may or may not end up liking the idea from the entrepreneur. then we'll go ahead and have a follow-up meeting where a term sheet is presented, and we'll have a closing meeting in which they finally come to terms. So normally all this would occur over days, weeks, maybe months. So just keep that in mind. Okay? And I'll interject with kind of pivotal key terms as the lawyer and moderator here. Otherwise, we'll let you guys answer your questions at the end. Okay?
Sounds great. There's actually term sheets too at the end, so you guys can see what we end up with. Ready?
Yeah, better.
Hey, Zach.
Oh, hey, Dane. Pleasure to meet you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for taking the
Oh,
time.
thanks for coming down all the way from Westchester. I really appreciate it. I know the traffic can be
It's
heck,
right. It's
you know.
right there. It's no big effort. And
Yeah.
my friend Randy said amazing things about you. I called up like 3 or 4 of your CEOs, and they rate him. I mean, it's crazy
Oh,
how much they
wow.
love you guys.
That's so nice to hear. That's so, we try our best. It's so
Well,
nice to hear.
And you're definitely in our space, which is not a lot of people, with your brain scanning research that you've done. So I think that this is
Yeah,
a really good meeting for us.
There aren't too many
We're very
folks
excited
in New York who do the intersection of consumer technology and med tech like we do, So I
It was
appreciate
social
you
and
coming in. Yeah,
local and
yeah, the whole nine, everything, But focused on that intersection between consumer and med tech. So I got sent the deck. Randy made the intro. It was very kind of him. But I was just wondering if you could give me a little bit more color on futurology and what your plans are and ultimately what you're looking to build.
So I think that we're in a lucky spot with futurology. We're actually trying to combine the science of scanning the brain and seeing your emotional states with the internet local and social capacity of linking that into dating and purchase path buying and all that kind of stuff. And we've gotten some great research done from MIT. We took 2 of their scientists. Our team is really very rich, and they're all actually been working for free the last 16 weeks, which is
that's amazing.
Considering that's something. And we think that we're actually at a cutting edge where we can sort of demo the technology now. We might actually be able to get some velocity with some of the big brands we're talking to. So we're kind of at the point where we want to actually put down some money and see if we can close these deals, which is why we've asked these introductions to sort of come to your doorstep.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I was super intrigued by the technology. We also, we have a lot of connections in the dating space, in the online dating space, so I could feel free to make some of those introductions for you for sure. So I'm just wondering, how much capital are you looking to raise, and exactly what are you looking to do with that capital once you raise it? How are you going to deploy it?
Well, geniuses are smart, so most of them go to headcount. I think that we're able to keep that pretty suppressed. We want enough runway to get ourselves about 18 months. We think that at that point we'll have a critical mass of deals and whatnot to do another round. So we're looking about $1 million, and we think that a convertible note about $5 million cap is sort of where we are evolution-wise. I mean, the technology, even the early indications we've had with eHarmony and all those sites, is it's really influential. So we think there's some big scale opportunities across the bank. And with that market, we think that's sort of a fair way to start.
Yeah, that's interesting. So 18 months of runway. How many staff is that?
That's 8.
And so what's that your monthly burn? I'm not too good at the math stuff.
So our monthly burn is going to be about $60,000, $70,000, but we think there will be some actual hard research costs. We have to pay for some labs to develop and manufacture the early prototypes. And that's not until the end of the cycle, but we need to get past that in this round as well.
And when do you think you'll be cash flow positive?
Well, we haven't modeled that out yet. We think that some of these deals might actually bring a lot to the bear, but we're really looking for somebody to bet with us, who believes in the vision. And I think that if you see any of these relationships coming through, that they're going to be really cash heavy. So it's our hope that we get those done next year, but we're not even looking at that right now.
Could you tell me a little bit more about the composition of the team and how it's laid out and how the kind of equity is divvied up currently?
Yeah, so right now I own the majority of it. Right? Of course, the scientists have a good stake because we want them to be really vested. Everybody has founding equity, so there's no option plan set in place so far. There are 3 scientists. My girlfriend's also a scientist, but I know that she's a girlfriend, only she's exceptional. And I've been able to negotiate a really good rate, so it's worked out.
Yeah. Those kind of teams are kind of sticky, but it's neither here nor there.
Yeah, well, if you look at it from where she's making now, you might think differently, but we can go over that.
All right.
We're in Westchester, so our rent's really low and our costs are very low.
Yeah.
It's a nice pull down from MIT so they can go back to their families and that kind of stuff.
Boston.
Yeah, well, it's cheaper than New York City.
Yeah,
It's great.
that's cool.
My family's there too. And
That's lovely. That's lovely.
So the team is still small. We have identified a few really big scientists who want to come on board. They just can't go to zero because they're actually more mature in their careers. They can lose that stuff. But they're willing to take serious compromises from a salary standpoint. So, they're investing as well as us.
Well, that's great. That's very nice of them. So why do you want to raise it on a convertible note, and how do you justify that valuation, that $5 million cap that you're asking for?
Well, so the convertible note is faster and cleaner, allows you to work with actual equity versus having to get an option pool out. So these new scientists we bring on board, we can give them hard equity. And the reason I think that we're at 5 is that the deal we're pricing out with eHarmony is, a $4 million contract for 1 year.
Wow, that's impressive.
That's a big step. And we think that just to converge these different technologies, the opportunity is so large that if we go below that in the cap, it's going to demoralize a team in the next round. But if we fail, then the cap structure is good for you because then we'll get a $2 million round and we'll get a bigger hunk. So.
And how long is the duration of the note that you're asking for?
I think we'd want at least 2 years, so there's a little breathing room.
Okay. And what about, is there a discount associated with that, or is it just a hard cap?
I think a 20% discount is fair.
Okay.
If we get higher, which is as our expectation for us.
All right. That's interesting. Well, look, I tested out the technology. I put it on my head. It was crazy. I mean, the insight was just
amazing, right?
Oh my God. I mean, I walked around with it, and people on the street thought I was a little crazy, but it was telling me, which people would be like close friends of mine and who I'd be compatible with, just beaming it into my head, and then it would tell me like what restaurants I wanted to go to. It was totally wild stuff. So
we didn't pre-program any of that in it. It was all raw sort of.
Unbelievable. Well, I think with some of these partnerships, and look, I'd love to help you with some of these partnerships. We are definitely a value-added fund. Are you talking to any other funds specifically in New York or any of those geezers up in Boston?
The geezers in Boston, but they're pretty cheap valuation wise. And we're talking to some folks in New York, but we're really excited about you. I think that your network of deals done so far really suits us, and I haven't heard anything better from anyone else than we've heard about you. So.
Well, yeah, that's really nice. We pride ourselves on adding value. I mean, sometimes we add so much value that I just stop in my office and I just stare and I say, oh my God, I'm adding so much value. I don't know what to do with myself. And it's, but then I get grounded. It's ultimately about the entrepreneur. At the end of the day, it's about a partnership. So, I know my place, but that said.
Yeah, it's what people say about it. They say you roll your sleeves and you work.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I know you've done your diligence on us, but we're super into this consumer med tech space. We just did a deal. We just led the seed round of a company we're very excited about called Drunky. I'm not sure are you familiar with Drunky?
No.
So it's kind of like it looks like a Livestrong bracelet, and you put it on, and it makes you feel completely wasted when you have it on. And what we realized, we studied the market, we did a lot of surveys, we were a little wary of this, but what we realized is people really like the ability to make really, really bad decisions. And they love having the excuse of feeling drunk, but they don't want the calories. So this thing is just taking off.
There's actually a really good pairing, I think, between us, because we could actually auto-activate that when you're making a decision that's like if you're in a dating situation and you're stressed, we could turn you on to drunk.
Oh yeah, I see that.
Make that work a lot faster, get more results.
Well, we appreciate that. We're all about portfolio synergies. I mean, that's a huge thing for us. We have so many people on staff working for us. We have EIRs. We also have doctors on staff.
Yes, we
do. Yeah, they're called doctors in communication. We call them DICs. Doctors in communication. Yeah.